get started, I want to talk about our sponsors for this video. First off, WMD Guns for still supplying us with the WMD Ambi Beast. We're still got this rifle, we're still doing testing with it and doing videos with it.
WMD is the home of the sling stock, as well as the most durable firearms coatings on the market. You can purchase whole rifles for them or browse their huge catalog of parts and accessories, many with their patented coating. If you want, you can send your rifles, parts, and accessories to WMD to be coated by the experts. Please go check out WMD today and see what they got.
Next, I would like to thank the sponsor of this video specifically, which is Hunt World USA. They supply the two optics we're testing today. One is a replacement and one is this one right here, the new Saturn, to test out. Next, I want to thank Netchus Outdoors for supplying us with all of this beautiful ammunition we've been shooting for the past couple months for all of our filming. This 5.56 has gone a really long way and it's still got a long way to take us. Real happy to be working with them. We are working out, trying to get some stuff going there as far as a real partnership. I might have some exciting stuff coming up as far as the shop goes. So stay tuned for that. Keep an eye out for that. Also guys, the merch store is live, 100%. It's live on the website. It's live down below this video. You can see our products. We got our, you know what, gun control hats there on the website. I can't post them here on YouTube because Google has not approved them for YouTube for some reason. Don't know why. Anyways, they are on the website. You can go to them, and I'll link another hat or something to the video for this one here so you can go to the store. But please go check out our store. Check out our merch. We got camo hats, we got camo boots, we got backpacks, duffel bags, one-sided wall flags. We got a bunch of cool stuff. I've been working on designs for the past 2 months to get this store completely up and going. That way there's something for everyone just about. So please go on the store, check it out. If you want to help us out, that'd be great, and we can keep making content like this. So let's get to it. Once again, I want to apologize for the noise, for the wind. It seems like it's always windy when I come out here to the range, which, I mean, it's nice because I'm not dying as much, but it does make recording a little hard. But today we're taking a look at two optics from Hunt World USA. First you have seen today is their original Acog clone. This is a very close clone of the Tritton Acog. The only thing that it doesn't have that the original Acog does have is this is not tritium illuminated, but it is fiber optic illuminated. It is very bright down the daylight. Got a nice good chevron reticle just like the original, and is set up for 5.56 This is the original design that they brought to market, which I believe retailed right under $200, right around $200. Now this is a brand new one that they just sent me because my old one was having a bit of issues with the adjustments. It wasn't adjusting properly. So super quick customer service. They sent me a new one as soon as I got around to requesting it, and this is the new one. Now I brought this one out here today because I wanted to compare it to their newest version of it, which is right here, and this is their Saturn. This is the budget Space Acog clone. So they added a bunch of neat little features to this one here that the original did not have, and even my original one didn't have stuff that the newer one did. But you now have a pick rail up here on top, so if you wanted to mount, like a little red dot or something like that, you can do that. There is a see-through hole through the bottom of it right here that you could potentially use to line up with your iron sights. You could use it like a peep sight if you can get down low enough. Kind of hard to get down low enough with the cheek rest on it, but because this does work like an Acog, I believe you could use the Acog risers to raise the scope up if you needed to. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I believe you could. Besides that, it's all aluminum case. Very nice build quality so far. So first we're going to go off. We're going to shoot the old school one. Now on this one here, I have not done any sighting in it or anything. This is directly out of the box. I have not touched it. I'm kind of curious to see how close it is right off the box, on a AR platform. So I'm gonna back this up just a little bit so you can see everything, and then we'll do some shooting out of this one. Let's see how close this thing is out of the factory. Oh, it's just a little high. There we go. Right out of the box, I think it's almost dead on for 100 yards because I'm shooting about 8 inches low at 50. So that should be pretty close for 100 yards. So let's switch over to the Saturn on the Beast. Those shots that I was missing, that was me, I was pulling it. This rifle has a really good trigger, so it's pretty easy sometimes to pull your shots when you're used to using like a heavier trigger, like on that AK over there, or AR over there that has a really heavy trigger pull. So I'm going to bring in the camera, and we're going to get up close and really look at the differences between these two models of the optic. Alright, so first of all, let's start with the differences between the new one and the original. So if you look here, the new one is quite a bit bulkier than the old one. So yes, it is heavier, but you do have a lot more of this extra support on it. Can't tell you the exact reason why. This is, their new designs on it. Some things that it's going to do is going to make this thing a lot tougher, a lot harder to drop on it. I'm going to assume that these flat surfaces are really wide, so you probably can have a good gasket in there to keep out moisture. This top rail is removable from these two caps here. However, the bottom portion of it is molded into the scope itself. I kind of would have liked to have seen that to been a completely separate ring you could take off if you didn't want it at all. Because if you were to take this off, you would be stuck with just this sharp little edge sticking out there from the bottom half of it. The new caps are these octagon shapes, and I'm sure they went with that just to kind of match the whole really sharp edges, that's kind of stealth fighter. It does have the same turret on the inside, and then oddly enough, it has a shorter fiber optic on it that I'm gonna guess this is gonna collect less light than the original. Now, one of the complaints with the OG Acogs is that a lot of time they were too bright, and a lot of the GIs would actually have to cover sections of the fiber optics with tape and stuff like that in order to dim them down a little bit so they wouldn't be too bright. Maybe they found that this length right here is just enough to get all the light collected that this one needs without having, too much light. Now, the only complaint that I have with it on so far is it is kind of unprotected here on the end here. It would have been nice if they would have continued that shield up a little bit and left it open-ended so light could collect directly in, or they could have capped it off like on the old one. You see the old one's completely protected all the way down the side. So that is something that hopefully they change in the future, because the way I see it, it looks like it could be pretty easy to whack that up and dislodge that that filament. Once that's gone, well, I don't know, I guess you can have moisture can get into the optic, and then you can have a you're obviously not going to be illuminated anymore. Now, another thing unlike the original the old ones is the Hunt World USA logo is actually cast into the frame now, as opposed on the old one it was just kind of painted on there. And then Saturn is just kind of, I guess, laser etched on there, showing the aluminum. It would have been kind of cool if they would have made that kind of popped up as well. So, you know, but that does show you right there the fact that this is cast right now into this frame, that Hunt World USA, whoever the suppliers are that's making these frames for them, they are making these specifically for Hunt World USA and not just rebranding something else. I'm not saying that these were rebranded or not as something else, but there are other equivalent looking and priced you know, Acog clones on the market that don't have anything cast in them that really, you know, describes them being specific company property or anything like that. So that is kind of cool to see that they put on this one here. As I mentioned earlier, it does appear that you can take this off and use Acog style adapters to raise or lower the optic. This is probably as low as it goes. However, you know, I suppose it would be possible to have a mount that actually sinks this down even lower down into the channel for the M-LOK. That's possible. I'm not 100% sure on that. There may even be a mount specifically for that. But I'm assuming it's going to be compatible with Acog's because they use that same kind of style of design there. And if it wasn't compatible, I wouldn't see any reason for them doing it. Now, that's really about it as far as the major visual differences. From what I can tell with my time with these optics, I've had this version here for almost 2 years now. And of course, this one here I've had for a couple days, and you saw, you know, pretty much on target. But my experience with these is that there's not a whole lot really different as far as how they actually function and operate. They both seem to be about just as clear as each other. Let me see here. Pretty clear. Yeah, as far as clarity, they both seem to be exactly the same. So I'm going to assume that the internals are the same, if not very similar. But overall, they're relatively well performing. Now, I believe the Saturn is currently retailing around $300 on Hunt World USA's website. And I'm not sure what the old model is retailing for, if they even still have it. Obviously they have some, because they sent me this one here as a replacement for my old one. So I'm not sure what those are running. I believe when I bought mine it was like $179. It was sub $200, I think, and it came out to just over $200 with shipping and handling. Now the Saturn now is, like I said, about $100 more, right around $300. So take that with a grain of salt. Like I said, the Hunt World USA did ship this optic out to me free of charge to test. They did not give me any guidelines what to say. They just wanted my honest review on it. And so far, I've really liked these budget Acogs. Because let's be honest, a real Acog is expensive. You know, you're not getting into anything that's a Trijicon Acog style unless you're looking at maybe, you know, I think some of the models are like $800 or something. You know, kind of pricey, you know. And then, you know, the actual military surplus Acogs, if you ever see those around, every once in a while those go on the market. I think Collect Firearms had a batch of them a while back. Even those are still going for like $600-700, and sometimes up over $1,000 for a surplus military Acog. So, you know, they're expensive optics, but they're well worth it. They're rugged designs, fixed power, very, very sturdy, built optics. Now the only thing that I wish that they would have changed with the Saturn is implemented a tritium light source in it of some kind to allow for night use. Personally, I think they probably could implement that into this optic and not increase the price too much, and still be well cheap enough for the average person to afford and have something that functions just like an Acog. Now, I'm going to keep this rifle here for a good minute, and I'm going to see what's going on. I'm going to test it. This one here, I'm probably going to put on something else. I do like this Acog a lot, but I do like the other 3-power I got from Texas Precision Optics a little bit better, just because it's got a wider viewing area. It is electric and does require batteries to illuminate the reticle, which kind of sucks, but I do like it. It is a little bit more compact as far as its short. I think it's about the same height, but it does have a larger, view side of it, so it's a little easier to view. Now, a lot of problems with a lot of Acogs and Acog clones is you do have to get pretty close for the eye relief, which always kind of bugged me, but it's not too bad with a rifle that recoils as little as 223. Now you can see here for the focus, the new Saturn has these nice little kind of serrated edges, so it's easy to grab a hold of, while the old one's just kind of smooth and can be kind of hard to adjust a little bit, but it's possible. As far as actually adjusting it for the focus, this tightened down all the way right out of the box is just fine for 50 to 100 yards. Let's see here. Let's look at 100. Yeah, even with my bad vision, I could make shots to 100 yards, no problem with this rifle. Now, also remember, a lot of my actually issues could be coming from this ammunition I'm using. This is just cheap Winchester white box full metal jacket. This stuff is by no far considered to be precision or match ammunition, so this could also be some of my accuracy issues. This stuff is mainly meant on hand to be for testing purposes, rapid fires, just main blasting, stuff like that. So I can really test rifles as far as their operations and stuff like that. If I get into a situation in which I need to do accuracy testing with the rifle, I'll probably purchase some better ammunition. So take that with a grain of salt, that my actually issues could both be a combination of me and the ammunition, as most shots seem to be extremely consistent with both of these optics. As you saw before, I was able to take both this one here right out of the box. I haven't done anything with it, and I was able to put it on target at 50 yards. It seems sighted in for 100 yards, no problem. I might take the target and run out to 100 yards in a minute and see how both of these run at 100 yards. But in fact, let's do that right now. Alright, so I have each rifle loaded up with 10 rounds. We're going to take 10 shots out of each rifle with each optic at 100 yards. I know it's kind of hard to see on camera, but the target is back over there at 100 yards, and let's see how they do. Now, like I said, this one here I have not sighted in at all. This is out of the box as is. forgot, this one had more than 10 rounds in it. What I did is I slapped the Saturn on my other AR upper, and then slapped the Beast lower on this AR upper, and I got 10 rounds. We're gonna see how accurate they are on this upper. Now, if it is the upper that's having accuracy issues, I should be able to, once I figure out the holdover, if the holdover is different, I should be able to strike consistently. Now, as you saw, I put the optic on the other upper, kept the same lower, and yes, it was off because it was sighted into that rifle, not this rifle, but it was dead on zeroed at for windage, and it was just elevation that was off, and I was shooting about a foot and a half lower than where it was. So definitely not the optic was the issues for the accuracy in this specific setup here, but as you can see, I was able to slap it on and still make hits at 100 yards after the first 3 or 4 shots. So it's pretty repeatable. So bring it back in. Okay, so there is one more thing I forgot to mention that I really would like Hunt World USA to do a bit of research into improving, and that's the screws or the nuts that hold on the optics. So one thing that you always have to do whenever you have an optic is you have to make sure it's securely mounted to the rifle. That way, you know, it's not going to move or anything. Well, one way that a lot of these companies do that is they do two things. One, they either make a hex-shaped bolt or nut on the outside that can be tightened with a wrench. That's awesome. I love those. And then oftentimes they also still have a screwdriver gash in it. The other thing they do is they do these kind of turn downs with the screwdriver notches. Now the problem that I have with these is to tighten these down really tight while you want them to. You can see I've actually have cut into the metal quite a bit because this is pretty soft steel that they used for these nuts. So that's something that is kind of concerning, because if it's this soft up here and can be kind of gouged like that with a screwdriver and tighten it down, then that means in theory you could strip out the nut if you over tighten it, which is, you know, no good. So that's something I wish they would look into, is changing out to some, you know, better, higher quality steel, you know, black alloy or something, nuts that are hex nuts on here, so you can really crank them down with, you know, a wrench. That way you know you have a good torque down and it's not going to come loose and come off. That's a problem I have with a lot of my heavier caliber rifles, is these will loosen up and then your scope gets loose and then you don't have a zero anymore. So that's something that I wish they would look into. As far as that, there's not a whole lot else that I think that they can improve on these models for the price points. They're very budget friendly as they are. They seem relatively well, you know, good use. The one experience I had with this one here, the other one where it stopped cranking, was probably my fault, because I was probably cranked it past, you know, all the way past its travel one way, and then it just wouldn't go back. I need to send it to them so I can take a look and see what I did with it, but that's probably my fault. I have a habit of doing that, because a lot of times what I'll do when I laser bore sight is I'll laser bore sight from one end of the room to the other, or from, you know, inside the bedroom into the living room, And then if I get a chance, I'll go to somewhere where I can at night, and I can do a full 100-yard laser bore sight, and then have it on paper. So that's kind of what I have a habit of doing. But sometimes when you're dialing in that close, you could go too far one way the other. So understandable. But anyways, as far as like these go, like I said, the new Saturn runs about $300. These older ones, I think they were $200 or under, give or take. I don't know what they are now. But if you're looking for something that's got a fiberglass illumination, that's a single fixed power, and you're on a budget, these are good choices. Personally, an LPVO is a better option all the way around as far as flexibility goes. But when you're looking on compact and ruggedness, a fixed power is always a pretty good choice to go with it. And I do like that. I do like being able to have a fixed power. Now, something I wish that someone would design a nice big viewing area, and then also maybe not quite tight eye relief. But technology is always changing. I remember when I first started getting into firearms, LPVOs were pretty much not heard of really just yet. Some existed, but they weren't really mainstream. It's really been the past 6-7 years that they've really been mainstream. So that's just something to always consider. But for a budget, these are a good price. These are pretty good. I like them so far. You're going to be seeing them in some more videos, and I'm going to be doing some more testing with the Saturn, and we're going to see how long it keeps going, if it gives me any problems at all. But anyways, guys, that's it for today. If you have any questions about the Saturn, let me know, and I'll answer them the best I can. And if you have any ideas of videos you want me to do with the Saturn, short of destroying it, comment down below. And also, be sure to go and check out our store, and look at all of our merch, and like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. We're trying to grow the best we can, as fast as we can. I need to get up to 100,000 subs so I can get me one of the personal representatives who can actually help me with stuff. Because one big problem I'm having so far with the YouTube is when I post my shorts, which is a lot of my viewing, they're not getting monetized right off the bat because the system automatically flags them. So I have to put them on private, then put in a review, and then wait for a week or two for them to get approved for the review before I can post them online, and then they be monetized properly. So basically, I've been making far less off of YouTube as I should have been making, simply because the system keeps flagging all of my videos. So if I can get up to 100,000 subs, I can get me one of the personal representatives. Maybe I could find a way to get my stuff approved faster before I make it uploads. So anyways, guys, I'll see y'all next time. Y'all have a good one.